Hey guys, and welcome back to That LP Show. The name of the game is Donkey Kong 64. Last time, we finally finished up Gloomy Galleon, and we got another key for K-Lemsey's cage, so we're gonna head over there and turn it into him right away and unlock a new area. And I promise you will notice a significant decrease in doom and gloom and general negativity from me in the next area, because it's actually one of my favorite stages in the entire game. So that's a good way to follow up what was actually my least favorite in the entire game. Alright, number 4 lock released. K-Lemsey's going to do his happy dance, and since we didn't unlock anything last time, we pretty much don't have any new areas to explore, so the game's gonna throw us a bone, and he actually unlocked something this time. You know, I actually would have preferred had he only unlocked like a few new areas every 2 coins, so you'd have a little bit more variety on, you know, which one you chose. I kind of like how when we turned in that second key, was it the second key? I think it was the second key after Angry Aztec. Yeah, after Angry Aztec, he unlocked both Frantic Factory and Gloomy Galleon, and we had a choice of going to either one, so long as we had the required amount of bananas. We definitely had enough golden bananas to go to Gloomy Galleon first. I think it just would have kind of been nice to give us more of an opportunity to branch off into different paths and take on the stages in any order we want, but, you know, for the most part, we're forced into having to defeat the boss of one area to get to another. Anyway, before heading into the next area, we can use this Jetpack Barrel that we unlock with Lanky Kong, oddly enough, in order to reach a bonus area at the peak of Donkey Kong's hair on top of the mountain.
Welcome to bonus stage.
And here we have another Peril Path Panic, a little more difficult than the last time we handled it because now we have to save 10 of these banana fairies, but it's pretty much the same strategy that we used last time. We want to immediately knock out the top, both rows, and then at this point, we're pretty much just standing by, loaded up on watermelons and waiting for each one to wake up. So that's pretty much it. Just keep an eye out as long as you remain diligent, and as soon as you see one start to wake up, you just open fire on it. You'll be just fine. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's not really my favorite mini game in Donkey Kong 64. Maybe because we're going to have to do it again very, very soon here. And that brings me to one of the more glaring flaws of DK64. Just the variety in minigames is not there, and that becomes glaringly obvious the closer you get towards the end of the game, and the more you see these minigames start to repeat themselves over and over again. Alright, and there is one more golden banana for us to get before entering. I'm going to try to enter into this cave and grab the banana and then get out without landing, but, you know, there is, oh god, there is some input delay on the Wii U Virtual Console version of this game, and, oh, come on, up, okay, good. Yeah, because if you land, then you can't really jump far enough over to this island in order to get back in. You'd have to fall all the way back down and take the cannon to get back up, and that's just a time waster. And I'm trying my best to optimize my routes throughout this game in order to avoid excessive backtracking or, you know, repeated retreads of places we've already been before. And here we have a banana fairy. This is the last thing I'm going to be trying to go after before heading inside the next area. If it holds still. Yeah, as I was saying before, the Wii U Virtual Console version of DK64 seems to suffer from some pretty bad input lag. Like it's almost a full second. This seems to be something that happens with all the N64 games on the Virtual Console, though, because I noticed it a little bit with Mario 64 as well. Did I get it? Ah. Anyway, I think that input delay has something to do with HDMI pass-through, because I don't notice it on the regular Wii Virtual Console with N64 games, and that used an analog video signal as opposed to a digital signal through an HDMI cable. Then again, I don't seem to notice it when playing regular Wii Virtual Console games on the Wii U, so I don't know if it has something to do with HDMI or what, but I do know that there is some definite input lag on this game. But one thing that the Wii U Virtual Console version of DK64 got rid of, and this is a good thing, is actual lag, like in the frame rate, because, yeah, the N64 just didn't always have the greatest consistency with its frame rate, and that was very obvious with Donkey Kong 64, and that's something that they actually fixed with this game. I guess the emulator just runs a lot better than the actual N64. I mean, I don't know if this is all stuff that I'm imagining. I'm not going to claim to be like the biggest tech geek in the world and the most knowledgeable when it comes to things like this, but I notice what I notice, and I notice that there's definitely some input delay here on the Virtual Console, yet the game seems to still run faster than it did on N64. Anyway, here we are in Fungi Forest, one of my favorite areas in the entire game, and fun fact, this was actually originally going to be a stage called Fungi Forest in the original Banjo-Kazooie, but it was left out due to time constraints. And I'm not sure how much they changed when they brought it over to this game. I'm sure they definitely changed a few things, you know, like, you know, place ammo switches and stuff like that, because, you know, Banjo-Kazooie didn't have weapons like the Kongs do in this game. Yeah, Red Feathers did something completely different in that one. But there is a reference to Fungi Forest, or as it was going to be called, Fungi Forest, in Banjo-Kazooie. You could actually see a picture of it inside Banjo's house. Anyway, you're probably wondering why I'm bouncing up here and immediately going into a tag barrel and instead of grabbing those purple bananas that we just unlocked with Tiny Kong, and that's because here in Fungi Forest there are several different switches and pathways for each Kong to take, so the tag barrels are going to get a bit of a workout. We could take out the zingers. You could probably already see immediately after hitting those feather switches, we're immediately confronted with some pineapple switches, so you just want to switch to Chunky immediately in order to get through this next area. Don't worry about those purple bananas. We'll be getting them on our way back through here. Like I said before, I tried my best to come up with the best route I could to avoid excessive backtracking and retreading. Anyway, we have a friendly-looking nerd worm living in an apple house, and he's coming under the attack of the killer tomatoes. No, really, that's what they're called in-game, the killer tomatoes. Yeah, not very clever. But we can't kill them in our current state. I just want to circle around here real quick and grab all of these green bananas. As you can see, not Chunky, we're playing as Chunky. Funky Kong is located here, and he has a new upgrade for us. And this is for every Kong, so all we have to do is fork over 5 coins, and we get homing ammo, which will come in really handy for some fast-moving enemies, and they come in the form of some red supply crates. I don't know why the text is shaking. It just makes it seem like Funky is trying to make it sound spooky or something. Anyway, we'll pick up some homing ammo a little bit later. For right now, there's a hunky chunky barrel right here, and now we can finally take care of those killer tomatoes. We want to just, as you can see, butt stomp on... Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, so once we butt stomp on all of them, that will make the worm in the apple house happy. He'll no longer have to deal with them. Alright, we did you a solid. Give me a golden banana. Oh, no, he wants us to take him down to the Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Then he'll give us a golden banana. Okay, well, while we're still in hunky chunky form, let's go ahead and pick him up, and we want to be very careful that he doesn't get damaged. Biggest threat here is that zinger that we just ran by, so make sure you don't get hit by any of his bombs that he drops. If you do, don't worry, the guy, you know, the worm here has some extra lives, and he'll just respawn back where you picked him up, and you can keep trying as many times as you want. Anyway, after placing him on that obvious spot marked by a picture of a giant green apple, he rewards us with a golden banana, which he chose not to actually put on the camera. That's actually more of the way that the camera just gets zoomed really close into your character whenever you're increased in size, or even decreased in size, because it does it with Tiny Kong too. Come to think of it, yeah, you know, this camera, it likes to just be right up the Kong's butt. You always have to zoom back out, and it resets back to being close up to them every time there's any kind of transition. So that can be a little frustrating when it comes to seeing your surroundings, but it's not so bad. Anyway, check out this draw distance, or lack thereof. You see that giant mushroom just pop in there? Yeah, that's good old Nintendo 64 for you. I don't think there really is a Nintendo 64 game with good draw distance. I don't even think Majora's Mask did it all that well. And that was the game that fully utilized the N64 expansion pack. DK64 could have run without it. The only reason that they packed it in is because it was the key to fixing a game-breaking glitch. Okay, so we have some soft soil here, and after examining it, Tiny Kong realizes that she might be able to plant something here. We don't have anything to plant yet. I just wanted to show it off in order to give the item that we get a little later a little bit of context. Especially since you can actually get that item without even realizing it, depending on where you're standing when it appears. So that's all we can do in this little area for right now until we get that, thing to plant in the ground. And I think it's about time I hit up another tag barrel and show off one of the... Come on. There we go. I'm going to switch over to DK now. And where is it? There it is. There's a cannon right here, and that'll blast us all the way up to this Cuckoo clock. And behind here, we have some yellow coins if you want to grab them. Not like we are really hurting for coins at this point. I just wanted to grab them just in case. And we have these two switches here. A moon switch and a sun switch, because Fungi Forest has a day-night mechanic. So there are certain areas in Fungi Forest, certain pathways that are blocked by either a... Oh, come on. Okay, well, I was supposed to grab that pendulum and just climb down, but whatever. Shortcut speedrunning strats. Don't want to go too fast, though, since Nintendo's cracking down on speedrunners, as if that makes any damn sense. But I digress. There are areas that are blocked by either a sun gate or a moon gate, and you can only access them depending on the time of day. So if there's an area with a moon gate, you want it to be nighttime so that moon gate goes away, and vice versa for the sun gates. You want it to be daytime so they go away. There's also certain events that can only be triggered depending on the time of day. For example, when we rested that green apple house worm guy on that pad with the green apple symbol, that actually would have only worked if it was daytime, because he specifically wanted that spot because it's sunny, and it wouldn't have been sunny there if it was nighttime. And I'm sure that not even Chunky Kong would have been strong enough to carry him all the way to Philadelphia, where I hear it's always sunny. I've never actually seen that show. I've seen reviews pop up here and there for it on IGN, but never actually sat down and watched the show myself. I wonder if it's any good. I mean, it's got Danny DeVito in it. I'm kind of a fan of Danny DeVito. I liked him in Batman Returns and Twins, and it's pretty much all I've seen with him in it. Oh, Matilda, even though I didn't really, care for that movie. I know, blasphemy. How could I not absolutely love that Mara Wilson classic? Honestly, I don't even think she gives half a rat's ass if I liked that movie or not. She's doing just fine without me caring. Okay, so we have a music pad right here for Lanky Kong, and after playing our trombone, we get absolutely nothing, and that's because this event can only be triggered during daytime. However, it's going to start a mini game, a race specifically, that right now would be impossible to win. We need a new ability to actually, succeed. But we don't get that ability until the next area of the game. So yeah, for right now, we're going to only have to settle for finishing off Fungi Forest with only 4 of Lanky's golden bananas. We're going to have to come back after we're done with the next area in order to get his 5th. So yeah, there is a little bit more backtracking in store for us in the near future, but just a little bit, just for that one thing, and then from that point forward, we could pretty much streamline the process of 100%ing the game. And so we are shrunken down with Tiny Kong, and we can play our saxophone right here, so you probably already know what's going to happen if you remember the same scenario back in Angry Aztec. Don't worry, we're not going to have to race any beetles this time, although we will have to later, and that might be the source of some frustration because it's really, really hard. That's in the next area, though, so we don't have to worry about it for now. Yeah, not much of a mini-game down in this hole, just kind of, you know, some enemies to kill. We have some big clap traps here, but we are perfectly safe on this platform, so let's just go ahead and chuck some oranges at them, and we can do the same thing with this guy right here. Now, make sure you're standing at the edge of this platform. Don't be standing in the center of it. Alright, so the golden banana spawns, but another thing that immediately spawns right next to you is this bean right here, which if you were standing in that spot, it would spawn right on top of you and you'd collect it during the cutscene and you wouldn't have any idea that you did. This is the thing that we need to plant in that soil that we showed off with, that I showed off earlier. That frustrated the hell out of me during my first playthrough because I'm scouring the entire stage looking for something to plant, because I knew it was going to be like a seed or something. It just seemed kind of obvious because, you know, it was soil. But I was looking all over the place for it during my very first playthrough of Donkey Kong 64, and then I just accidentally found out that I had it by going back to that soil, because when you go back there, oh, you son of a bitch. Anyway, when you go back there, it triggers a cutscene where, you know, something grows. And I didn't know how I did it or where I got it. I actually had to look it up online to find out. And that didn't happen until years later, because I only played Donkey Kong 64 one time when it came out back in Actually, I didn't even play it back in 1999. I played it sometime in the early 2000s. But yeah, I didn't pick it up again until it came out on the Wii U Virtual Console. But I keep blabbing on about anything and everything that's not having to do with what's on the screen. We used Diddy's guitar to summon an owl, and the owl is completely racist towards anything that doesn't fly. So we're going to hit up this jet barrel right here, and now we can fly. Let's go rub it in his face. So we're approaching another type of bird with a jetpack on, like we did back in Angry Aztec with that vulture, so you probably can see what's going to happen here. It's another fly through the ring scenario, and this one is much more difficult because it's a much more closed off area, and sometimes he likes to put the rings really close to the tree trunks, making it very hard for the camera to focus in on them, but so far seem to be doing okay. And there are times, just like with the one with the vulture, where I could swear that I fly right through the rings and nothing happens. It just goes like, nope, nope, you didn't actually fly through it, I'm not going to register. Come on, there we go. I mean, maybe I didn't fly through it, it just looked like I flew through it, because, but, depth perception is all messed up. Yeah, once again, hardest part of this challenge is the fact that the camera just doesn't want to work with you. I mean, you gotta turn, and Diddy will turn, but the camera won't turn behind him. I mean, I put it on follow, but it doesn't always work. And when you're playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console with a Wii U Pro Controller or a gamepad, come on. So, yeah, really? Really? Tree trunk? Anyway, yeah, I passed it, so we're okay. But as I was saying, with the sensitive sticks on this controller and no notches actually on the analog sticks, something as simple as going forward in a straight line is unnecessarily difficult. And for winning that minigame, our reward is another minigame, which doesn't make any damn sense. It's like working for 2 weeks straight, and then when payday rolls around, your boss makes you dig a hole to get to your paycheck. It's like, I completed your task, give me my damn reward. It's padding, that's what it is, it's just padding. Nobody wants to open up a Christmas present only to find another box inside the box. Anyway, we have another busy barrel barrage here, this time with Diddy Kong. I think it's the same exact time limit that we had with the one with Chunky Kong and Angry Aztec, except now more enemies spawn and in more locations. I think with Chunky Kong, they only spawned up at the top, bottom, left, and right, but now you see that they're spawning in one more area. I think that's the actually, yeah, that top corner up there, if you can even say that a circle has a corner, but you know, kind of like at the 10, 11 o'clock area, you have another extra enemy spawning. Still not that difficult. Main thing is to just pay attention to where each enemy is spawning and which ones are spawning first, because those are going to be the first ones to rush toward you. And that pretty much does it for this area with this hollowed out tree. We won't be coming back here until much later in the game, after the, well, not that much later, but after the next area of the game, we'll be coming back here with a new ability in order to win that race and get Lanky Kong's last golden banana. But for right now, we're going to move on. And those bats here only appear at night. They're called flip-flaps because why not? Nintendo games can never seem to call bats just bats. They have to make up some other weird name for them, like Keese. So this area has a giant mushroom tower chock full of golden bananas and other collectibles for the Kongs, which require a new upgrade in order to access, so we'll be visiting Cranky Kong for that, but that's going to have to wait until next time. And until next time, thank you for watching That LP Show, and have a one that is good.